I cannot let you go into 2025 without giving you the blueprint to achieve all the goals that you set for yourself this year and every other year moving forward. Now, most of us are stuck in a toxic cycle of setting really ambitious goals at the beginning of the new year, only to lose that initial motivation and completely give up on them by the second or the third month. I have been there myself several times, but right now in the past couple of years, I have had a 95% success rate with my yearly goals. Last year, out of the 5 major goals that I set for myself, I ended up achieving 4 to completion and the 5th one about 70% of the way. And this has been the result of hours of research into goal setting psychology and experimenting with evidence-based strategies. And that is exactly what I'm going to share with you today. 10 simple methods that are so effective in accomplishing your goals, you are never going to look back. And stick around till the end because I also have a few daily practices that take less than 10 minutes to do but exponentially increase your chances of success. So hit that subscribe button and let's go. We all set our sights super high at the beginning of each year. Then why is it that only a handful of people are able to get through that list of goals? I have found 4 primary reasons for this. First is a lack of clarity. Most people just don't know what they want. They have a vague idea of how to improve their life, like getting fit or making more money or starting a business. But goals are subjective, and if you've never really defined what more money or what better health or what starting a business means for you, you are going to have a hard time achieving that. Second is a lack of a strong why. A lot of the times, the goals that we set are because of external factors like societal pressure or the need to fit in. It is not inherently important to us because it doesn't bring us joy or fulfillment. And that is why we are not intrinsically motivated to achieve them. For example, pursuing a career field because your parents want it for you. The third is a lack of systems. Most people, including me, often rely heavily on motivation to achieve their goals, and so when that motivation fades, the goal becomes irrelevant. And 4, and perhaps the most important, is lack of emotional regulation. I want you to look back on all of the decisions that you made today. And I bet that 80% of them are going to be based on your emotional response as opposed to logical thinking. You didn't go to the gym because you were overwhelmed and you were not feeling like it. You didn't start your side hustle again because you're afraid of failure. You didn't publish that article because it's not perfect yet. These emotions rule your decision making. And when emotional upheaval happens, like when we are feeling burnt out or overwhelmed or stressed out, we are constantly focused on putting those emotions away, putting those fires out, instead of focusing on our goals because we don't have enough willpower left to work on our goals. So, how do you tackle these problems? I have divided the strategies into 3 sections. The first has to do with your goal setting the right goals and setting them in the right way. The second is working on setting the right systems. And the third is working on your mindset. And to make things even easier for you, I have designed a 7-step goal getter challenge, which helps you set your goals and your systems in the right way without struggling too much, without shooting in the dark. I've created detailed worksheets for every single step, an accountability group where I personally answer every single query you have, and dedicated goal getters pushing each other to do better. You can sign up for it if you want using the link in the description, and for January we have a 50% off going on. Let's start with the first system, setting the right goals. And setting them in the right way, because it's not just about what goals you have, but how you set your goals that makes all of the difference. And if you do this step right, you are halfway there. It's half the battle won. So how do you do it? Start by getting clear on what your goals are. Start by understanding what you want to achieve in 2025 and why do you want to achieve it. Now, this might be obvious for some of you. You might have something in the back of your head. You might already understand what it is that needs to change this year. But even then, I want you to do a small exercise of assessing your life in the past year. Look at all of the different areas of your life. You can use the Wheel of Life. This is the one that I use. And rate your satisfaction and happiness across all of these 8 areas. It gives you a clear picture of which areas of your life are imbalanced and actually need work. And when you set your goals to work on these areas, it gives you clarity like nothing else. For instance, I was not satisfied with my health and physical well-being in the last year. I want to work on it this year. But when I did this exercise, it made me realize where I was lacking exactly. It became very clear that I needed to focus on improving certain aspects of my health. And boom, I had a goal. The next thing you want to do is get specific. So great, I now have a goal, I want to work on my health. But that can mean so many different things. Do I want to work out more? Do I want to build muscle? Do I want to improve my blood markers? So it helps to get super specific about what exactly you want to improve or change as a part of your goal. For me, improving my health means losing 10 kgs in the next 6 months and being able to run a 5K in 30 minutes. Once you are clear on what specific goal you want to achieve, you next want to move on to prioritization. Now, if you do this Wheel of Life exercise, chances are that you will have a bunch of different goals for different areas of your life. I have certain goals for my career, I have certain goals for my fitness, certain goals for my finances. And that is where things start to get a little bit murky. Most of us are super ambitious at the start of the year. We set 20 different goals in 5 different areas of our life. And then of course, life gets in the way. Motivation fades and we give up on those goals. The easiest way to avoid this is to prioritize your goals on the basis of which ones are going to have the most impact on the rest of your life. Remember that you can achieve anything that you want, but you probably can't achieve everything all at once. So a general rule of thumb is to focus on 3 areas of your life in one given year. This year, personally, I'm focusing on my health, my finances, and my career. So when you do the Wheel of Life exercise, it will become very clear what are the 3 or 4 areas that you need to focus on. And this is why prioritization is key, so that you don't burn out and so that you stay consistent. Let's say that I have a bunch of goals in my health, this thing, and one of my top goals is to lose 10 kgs. And then I also have a bunch of goals in my relationships, in my socializing sector, where I want to socialize every week and meet new people to grow my network. Which has a larger impact on my life? For me, personally, it's going to be the one where I lose weight, because that will improve my health, my energy, it will impact my confidence, and that will impact how I show up in the world. And while socializing is important too, do I really want to do that at the expense of my health? That is the question that you need to ask to prioritize. So ideally, when you're setting your goals, you want to end up with 3 to 4 high priority goals across the 3 different areas that you choose for this year, for the rest of the year. Anything more than that becomes too complicated and overwhelming, and anything less than that means you're probably not reaching your true potential. By setting your goals more intelligently, you get a very clear, a very realistic target to work towards, and it becomes that much easier to work towards that target. Now that we have covered how to set the goals, let's put the systems in place to ensure that you don't have to give up on them when motivation runs out. Because, and this is one of my favorite quotes, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. For this, the first thing you are going to do is get smarter by using tools to simplify the work for yourself, aka use smarter tools. One of the best things you can do for achieving your goals is to figure out what tools, what methods, what things in general can help make things easier for you. For example, my goal of losing 10 kgs can become a lot easier if I have a workout plan, a gym membership, an accountability partner like a friend or a coach, and tools inside my house, maybe like a standing desk or an elliptical machine that keep me moving. Similarly, if I want to make more money with my existing schedule, I need tools that help me manage my time more efficiently, that take away the grunt work so that I can focus on things that actually move the needle. So at the start of the year, I want you to sit down and figure out what these tools are for your goals. Invest in them upfront, make things easier for yourself. Making them harder is not inherently making them better. It can take some trial and error to figure out what are the goals, what are the methods that fit your needs exactly. For example, I shuffled through multiple different food tracking apps in the last year to figure out that Healthify Me actually works the best. It is the simplest to use, it fits with most Indian foods, and very, very easy to track. And once you figure out what these tools are for you, it becomes 10 times easier to stick to your goals. Here, Here on screen are a few tools that I use for various goals that I have. If you like these, you can use them too. The next thing you want to do is set clear milestone and sprint periods. Now, once you've decided on your goals, you need a plan to stay consistent with your effort and to track your progress over time. This is essential so that you stay motivated and consistent. Now, there are two parts to this. First is breaking the larger goal into smaller, more manageable chunks. And the second is creating a timeline for when you accomplish each smaller chunk. This is super easily achieved through the concept of quarterly quests. I learned about this from Ali Abdal and I absolutely love it. Let's say that my goal is to run a half marathon by the end of the year, which is 21 kilometers. How will I train for it? I would break it down into smaller milestones. So first milestone would be running a 5K, then a 10K, then a 15K, and then by the end of the year, a 21K. But it's not just enough to break my goal into smaller chunks, right? I know that I need to do this. I also need to have a timeline to achieve each chunk so that I'm able to run a 21K by the end of the year. Otherwise, I could spend the entire year trying to run a 5K and never achieving my marathon goal. So instead, I give myself 3 months to get good at running a 5K, then the next 3 months to get good at running a 10K, the next 3 months for a 15K, and finally at the end of the year, a 21K. Giving yourself these quarterly milestones, and a quarter is a great period, it's just 3 months. It's short enough that you can see the future and it's long enough for you to build a habit. So these quarterly milestones that feed into your main goals is one of the easiest ways to keep on track with your goals. And it doesn't make your goals feel daunting. After this, you want to move on to optimizing your environment so that it allows you to reach these quarterly milestones. Your environment has one of the biggest impacts on your success. So for every goal that you are setting, I want you to ask yourself, does my current environment support this goal? For example, if my goal is to eat healthier and I ask myself, my current environment supports this goal, but I go look in my pantry and it's filled with junk food and processed food, that is not conducive to my success. That environment is not conducive to my success. Instead, if I stock my kitchen with nutritious food and get rid of the junk, that is conducive to my success. If your goal is to improve your ability to focus, it is very important for you to have a distraction-free workspace. That is the environment you need. So turning off your notifications, clearing your desk, setting boundaries, all of those things create this environment. This one is pretty simple, but it's often overlooked. So I want you to go ahead and take a look at both your physical and your digital environment and audit it to basically fit the goals that you are trying to achieve. Once you've done that, you move on to step 4, which is tracking and regular check-ins to make sure that you stay on track with your goals. One of the biggest reasons that I see people give up on their goals is because life gets in the way and they forget to prioritize their goals, or they just don't have the mental bandwidth to prioritize their goals because they are so focused on dealing with urgent stuff that keeps cropping up. Now, this is super easy to avoid actually. All you need are 2 things. Some sort of system to track your progress and a calendar to remind you to track your progress. You can use any tool that you find the easiest to work with. I personally use Notion. This is what my quarterly quests goals look like. You can use Excel, pen, paper, anything that floats your boat. And then once you have written down your quarterly milestones, each of the goals for your quarterly milestones, you are going to set up a calendar reminder to go off at the beginning of every quarter, 1 hour to go over your goals and your progress. For example, I had the first reminder set for the 31st of March, the next one for the 30th of June, then September, and then finally December. I love doing this because life does get in the way. But this way, even if I was not able to stay on track with a particular goal in a particular quarter, I get to course correct before the next quarter starts as opposed to leaving it unattended till the end of the year. This way, you can actually see your progress over time, and that makes it a lot easier to stick to. And the final thing that I want you to make a part of your robust goal achieving system is accountability. Having one other person that you are answerable to apart from yourself. A lot of the times we let our mind run the reins and then we give into the allure of short-term pleasure because we are not answerable to anyone. Of course, it's important to keep the promises that you make to yourself, but this is like an additional layer of fail-safe to keep you on track when you do invariably waver. It could be a partner, a friend, a digital buddy. If you guys do end up joining the Goal Getter Challenge, you can find your next accountability buddy there. Okay, now that we have covered the basics of how to set the right goals and how to set the right systems, let's talk about how you can stop your own mind from playing tricks on you and from derailing you from your progress. The first thing I want you to do is get awesome at visualization. This is probably my favorite self-help technique. I have already talked so much about how powerful visualization is when it comes to reprogramming your subconscious, when it comes to manifesting the things that you want. Turns out it is equally great when it comes to keeping you motivated towards your goal. One big issue with setting long-term goals is that our brains are hardwired to prioritize short-term instant pleasure. That is why scrolling on social media, watching TV, eating junk food, all of this stuff is so addictive, even when we know deep down that it's not the best for us. Long-term goals can feel hard to achieve because of a psychological phenomenon called delayed discounting, which means that goals that are further out into the future feel less rewarding to work towards. A social psychologist, Emily Balketis, conducted a study on this, on the pursuit of long-term goals, and she had a set of participants who wanted to save more money for the future. These people were divided into two groups. One was asked to think about how their future selves would feel about having more money. And the second group was actually shown a digitally edited photo of themselves having achieved their goals 30-40 years down the line. And it was found that this group that could actually see the photo was a lot more likely to achieve and pursue their goal. Visualization basically acts as a bridge between your current and your future reality, and therefore it makes it a lot more likely to keep you on track. That is why I keep telling you to create your vision boards, to do a visualization practice every morning that depict those goals that you want to achieve. You can even use Photoshop to morph these images to fit yourself in them. The second thing I want you to do here is develop something called an action bias. Now think about it. How much time have you spent watching YouTube videos about achieving your goals, including this one? You have probably listened to more advice than anyone can absorb in a lifetime, and yet you are still struggling. The problem isn't that you don't know what to do. The problem is that you are not executing. You learn a lot and you execute very little. Everything that you want to know is out there in brilliantly explained content. But that advice is useless without application. To achieve your goals, you need to maximize your conversion rate. Right now, it's super low because you're learning 100 tips and probably not even acting on 2. That makes your conversion rate less than 2%. Instead, if you just watch this one video with 3 systems and you execute 2 of these systems consistently, you end up having a conversion rate of 66%. Would it not be better to execute on 1 tip consistently than to watch 100 tips and execute 0? Now, the one thing that has really helped me in developing an action bias is to act regardless of my emotions. Think of it like taking a medicine prescribed by a doctor. You have to take it regardless of how you're feeling. Maybe you don't like swallowing tablets, but you'd still do it because you know it's going to help you get better. Acting towards your goals is a very similar process. You need to take those steps regardless of how you feel about them or how you feel in the moment. It takes a few reminders, but it helps you stay on track. It takes a little bit of constant reminding to remember that you need to act regardless of your feelings. But over a period of time, you're able to override that instinctual response, which tells you to give into the short-term pleasure of acting according to your feelings. And then over time, it becomes a habit. And now I promised you I'm going to give you a list of daily practices to actually follow through on your goals. The first thing I want you to do is morning affirmations. These help you work on your mindset and cement your self-confidence in achieving your goals. Simultaneously, you are also going to practice visualization. Sit down with your eyes closed for 5 minutes every single morning and visualize yourself in your dream reality, in your dream scenario. That way, you are a lot more likely to stay on track with your goals as opposed to you not doing those things. The third thing I want you to do is plan out your week in advance. Set time every single Sunday to plan out your week. It takes 20 minutes. It makes things smoother for the entire week. Just identify your top 3 priorities, schedule them into your calendar so that you know that in these given times you are going to work on them. Fourth, do 10 minutes of weekly journaling. Again, this happens on a Sunday before you create your plan for the next week. See how much progress you have made towards your goals. Remember that sheet that I showed you with your quarterly milestones? You can create a similar one for your weekly milestones, or just a weekly check-in sheet where you go over your week, see how much action you've taken towards your goals, and see what you can do to course correct in the coming week and weave that into your plan for the coming week. And doing this also helps when you do your quarterly check-ins, because you just need to look over your weekly journals and you know how much progress you have actually made. 2025 is going to be your year, you guys. You only need to take action. Achieving your goals is not about being perfect. Like I said, it's about showing up consistently even when it's hard. Even if you get an 80% success rate, that's better than having a 50% success rate with your goals. So use these strategies that we've covered today, set clear goals, build better systems, and track your progress. Now here is your homework. Write down one goal that you want to achieve this year and break it down into actionable steps and share your why for that goal in the comments. I cannot wait to see what you accomplish this year. I only hope for the best for you. I really hope that you found this video helpful. The link for the Goal Getter Challenge is in the description if you want to make this even stronger, and make sure you go check out this video next, and I'm gonna see you guys very soon in another one. Bye.